Hello, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to All Talk Basketball. First on the agenda today, we will talk about the 2020 NBA Draft. That was last Wednesday. Um, First off, I just want to go over the top picks. I don't, we don't have time, and I don't want to go over every pick in the NBA draft, but I just want to go over the top few. First of all, let's start at the top. Timberwolves taking Anthony Edwards. Tyler, what do you have to say about that one?
Great fit for the team. Nobody else in the draft would have been close to fitting better with that team. They don't need LaMelo Ball because they have D'Angelo Russell. They don't need James Wiseman because they have Karl Anthony Towns. He's just the perfect fit.
Yeah, easily the best available in terms of what they needed the most. They could have used a Kuro, they could have used a Kongwu, but Anthony Edwards, the obvious choice at number one. Um, I think he'll get them the furthest. It's going to take him 2 or 3 years to develop into something solid. I think he's gonna be one of those late bloomers. I think, but he will fit just perfectly to where in 2 or 3 years he'll be exactly who he needs them to be to contend for the playoff spot in the West.
Yeah,
Next up, number two, James Wiseman to the Warriors. Slam dunk, probably easiest pick in the draft. Um,
easily. Yeah.
I think I think if Golden State is number one, they still go with James Wiseman. There's just there's just no one else Golden State needed. I mean, obviously, obviously now that Klay Thompson's hurt, they could have they 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 could have went with a two to
Yeah.
replace Klay Thompson, but they did that with trades anyway. But the Warriors have struggled at center for the longest time. James Wiseman is easily the most talented big man in this class, and he's going to
Oh
turn
yeah,
into something really special.
definitely.
So at number three, the Hornets take the best player in the draft, LaMelo Ball.
Yeah,
Um, he's going to
great
win
choice.
Rookie of the Year. I think LaMelo Ball can lead Charlotte to a playoff spot. I
Oh yeah, easily. I just think there's a few teams out east that are good enough to be the eighth seed, but I think is with the signing of Gordon Hayward and as long as Lamelo Ball plays up to what everybody's hyping him up, I think it's pretty easy they could be the eighth seed. I don't know how far they'll get in the playoffs going against somebody like the Bucks, but
well,
the eighth
well,
seed is a great accomplishment from being like one of the worst teams in the league.
we'll see how the Bucks turn out. That the Bucks last year were so disappointing. I'm not trusting the
Yeah.
Bucks anymore. I had the Bucks going all
Oh
the
yeah.
way until they got to the finals, and they really disappointed me. I'm no longer putting my trust in the Bucks anymore. But no doubt, Lamelo Ball, the best player in the draft, and he's exactly who Charlotte needed. Um, he's going to sell tickets, and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
in a small market,
Full
Lamelo
market
Ball
needs people like him.
is exactly what they needed. All right, next up, the fourth pick in the draft, Patrick Williams. Who is that, Tyler? Who is that?
He is a human being that is really well unknown. Actually, he I'm not too savvy on the draft in college already, and then you just, like I said, you just throw a name at me that I've never even heard of, never even knew this person existed, and then he was picked at four. Can
Yeah,
you fill me in on some details?
I mean, like, were the Bulls just picking college players out of a hat and just randomly? Did they even know who this kid was? I don't.
I think
He
they
didn't
just
even.
saw a name and liked it.
He didn't even start for his college team, and I mean, not even a a legit double-digit scorer. He's just I just see the biggest bust in the draft right there. Just because
Does he even have any highlights or anything?
I looked up. I had no idea who he was. So I hear his name at number 4, and I'm like, who in the world is this kid? I watch college basketball just as much as the next guy, and I had absolutely no idea who this was. So I had to look up some highlights. I mean, he's a solid player. I mean, could do a lot better than I can do, but I mean, in terms of all the talent, I mean, easily the top 20. I mean, easily he could have fallen into the second round, honestly, in terms of talent wise in this draft. He could have easily fallen into the second round, but the Bulls take
Did
him at number 4. Uh,
Did you ever look at any of the mock drafts? Did you see him anywhere
no,
in any of the mock drafts?
no, I had not seen his name before in my life. I
Dang, dang.
I Google searched him the second I was watching the draft. I had to Google search him that the second that his name came up. I had no idea who he was. So sorry, Chicago Bulls fans. You really needed a splash, and the Bulls did not give you a splash. But hopefully, I hope Patrick Williams proves me wrong. I hope he has a great career.
I
I hope he does really well, but I
I
I
know
don't
that
put any.
they didn't really need a 4 or a 5 because they have Laurie Markkinen and Wendell Carter Jr. They did need a 3 because none of their threes can seem to stay healthy. My bad.
Yeah,
Uh,
they could have
and
used
he's a 3. So
anything 1 through 3.
no, they don't need a 2.
Well,
They don't need a 2.
they don't need a starting 2, but I mean
Oh,
having
they
a
could definitely
nice
use a bench 2.
young talented guy behind Levine
I think they were trying to take a
definitely
take a
work.
leap of faith on this guy, and hopefully he. I'm honestly I'm rooting for him. I don't know many of the other people. I know pretty much the top 5 besides him. The 5, all the other 5 besides him, I know. But then you get him. I'm rooting for him to win something, do something, make us eat our crow, as the old people would
Honestly,
say.
I'm rooting for all these guys. I mean, I hope they all do well, but I just don't have faith. Next up, Cleveland, number 5, takes Isaac Okoro. He was the best
Great pick.
available at the time. Cleveland was horrible last year. That's a safe pick. Um, that's just a safe pick. Number 6,
I think it's a better pick than what they did last season or the last draft. They didn't need another guard last draft, and they picked up another guard, point guard at that.
and you know what? That just kind of summed up how last season went for Cleveland. Number 6, the
Oh yeah,
Hawks pick Nneka Kongwu. The Hawks are interesting. The Hawks are
very
looking
interesting.
interesting this year. Tell me a little bit more about
Spicy,
what you're thinking.
spicy. I'm confused with what their starting lineup's going to be like. I know they're going to have Trey Young. Uh, Kevin Herter probably is going to be at 2, and then 3 through 5 is just the rest. I don't know. Are they going to have Gallo come play the 3, and then Collins play the 4, and then Capella play the 5, or are they going to do Collins at the 5 and Gallo at the 4, and then who's going to play 3? I don't know. I think both Gallo, Collins, and Capella are all too good to be coming off the bench.
Yeah, you're
But
you're
Gallo,
you're right. And obviously, just looking at it, Kongwu, great kid off the bench. And in terms
oh
of
yeah,
the Hawks starters, I mean, the safe bet is just go Gallo at 3, Collins at 4, Capella at 5. But being a Thunder fan, I have a lot of experience in the Gallinari area now. He's slow. He's very slow, and
very slow.
he is a liability on defense. My goodness, liability. And that 3 spot, I mean, you've got
Really
LeBron
talented.
James, you've got Kevin Durant, you've got Kawhi Leonard, you've got so many
Brandon Ingram.
guys that Brandon Ingram, yeah, that's another one. You've got so many guys you have to guard. I look at John Collins. He's taller and he's more of a 4 than Gallinari is. But
Oh
he's
yeah.
more athletic, he's younger, he's faster.
Mhm.
I mean,
He's
I
not the best defender, but he's better than Gallo.
if I'm in the Atlanta coaching staff, maybe start Collins at 3, Gallinari at 4, Capella at 5.
And who knows? He could develop into a very good 3-4 player or 4-3 player, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, that that's just yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with the Gallinari signing. I do know it's a good pickup. Uh,
Very good
Atlanta
pickup. Yep.
Atlanta's in a spot where they
And
can't turn down talent, and so that's a good pickup.
they picked up Rondo as a good bench point guard too. Figured I guess we could wait until we get to that section, but I figured I'd just throw that out there.
Yeah, just might
Rondo's
as
a
well.
significantly better defender than Trae Young, and then Trae Young's a significantly better offensive player than Rondo. It's
And you
just
need somebody off the bench. And so yeah, the
they had
Hawks are looking
Jeff
scary.
Teague, didn't they? I
Yeah,
thought they
but
picked up Jeff Teague last season.
yeah, but I'm taking Rondo over Jeff Teague.
Oh yeah, I definitely choose that.
So anyway, I don't want to go too far into the draft, but the Knicks take Obi Toppin at number 8. I mean,
Yep, great pick.
that's a great pick. Just another power forward for the Knicks, but they released Taj Gibson, and they waived some other forwards that they had. Is Obi Toppin's going to sell tickets, actually. I know New York doesn't have a huge problem selling tickets, but Obi Toppin's young, athletic. He's going to complement Mitchell Robinson really well,
Yes,
and they're going to be good.
as long as they get RJ Barrett to play better than what he did last season, they will start gaining momentum for the young talent.
And it's about time. The New York
They've been pretty bad for the last little bit of time.
quite a bit. And okay, so there's one more guy I want to go over. The 9th pick, the Washington Wizards, Deni Avdija. Do you have any opinion on Deni Avdija?
I know he is another defensive liability. Very great offensive, and didn't he play overseas? He was an overseas player, yeah. I know he's.
He was an
You go.
MVP. He was an MVP in his Israeli league. Yep.
And I know he's a lights out shooter right now, and he's not very, very good on the defensive end.
Yeah,
I know that. That's about all I know.
Getting a little deja vu with a young kid named Luka Doncic, maybe.
That's a possibility. I don't know if anyone coming in can really play as good as Luka did on his first season. But if anyone has the skill set and the ability similar to Luka, it's him.
Yeah. So I really hate how the Wizards are doing things. I think that'll be a nice segue to our next topic about what in the world are the Wizards doing. Um, Denny Avdia would have been a great pickup, having John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Denny Avdia. That's something you can build around, and
Rui Hachimura at the 4-2.
and that's a team that can win games. That's a team that can win games, but
Yeah.
but no, of course the Wizards, being the Wizards, have to go and screw everything up. Um, Now they made John Wall mad, and John Wall requesting a trade.
And that
I know John Wall's your guy.
deflated.
Look at that poster behind you. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
I think that, well, I'm going to throw this out here first. Did you know that Steph Curry and John Wall are the only players right now that has stayed on their team for more than a decade.
Yep, I hate
They
it.
are two of the most loyal players in the league. The only other players that are more loyal, or not more, but like as loyal as Russell Westbrook is pretty loyal to OKC until they couldn't build around him really at all. Um, there's players like, I think Giannis is going to be pretty loyal. I don't know though if they can't build around him. I don't blame him for leaving. And then really that's pretty much it. I think Klay Thompson is pretty loyal, but he doesn't really have a choice right now. So, but like, how are you going to try to trade a player who's literally just coming back from an injury? You didn't give him literally any time to show if he could play to the level he did before he got injured, or at least pretty close to it. And then you go try to trade him for a player who's going to completely he's like kind of the opposite of John Wall. John Wall's fine with being the secondary ball handler. Then Westbrook, that's kind of the reason why Westbrook and James Harden didn't work, is they're both primary ball handlers. Neither one of them are used to being the secondary. Even whenever Westbrook played with KD, he was really the primary ball handler, and he just fed KD the ball. And KD loved it. And it's just...
Did he love it?
I just think Westbrook's
Did he, Tyler? Did he?
Yeah. He loved it, and then he loves winning championships more. So,
Sorry about that.
But
still Bradley, a little salty about the Kevin Durant thing.
Bradley Beal is definitely the primary ball handler on Washington right now, unless John Wall could come back and just play at an MVP level or something. Right now, John Wall said that he would be completely fine with being the secondary option and letting Bradley Beal do his work.
John Wall never got to play with the caliber of Bradley Beal that we see today.
That is now. Oh,
John Wall and Bradley Beal, if John Wall is coming back as strong as the reports say he is, that would be a scary duo in the league.
Scary. One of the best backcourt duos in the league. If not, I'd say top three, maybe two.
That would win some games, which the Wizards have not done in a long time. But
they haven't. They just haven't had the talent besides Bradley Beal trying to carry the complete load. And like I said, if they wouldn't have just screwed up the whole John Wall situation, that would have been a nice team. We got Rory probably getting better. Thomas Bryant probably going to get better. He's very young center still. And then you get the new guy. He's going to be a pretty good 3 compared to Troy Brown, I'd say. I'm not a fan of Troy Brown, but that team would have been nice. I think it could have been 8, maybe 7 seed, and then they just go and screw it up.
I am excited to see where John Wall goes. If John Wall goes to a contender, that'll be pretty fun. That'll be pretty fun.
I do know that Kawhi went into the front office for the Clippers and requested them to get another primary ball handler, a guard. And is it just me, or is John Wall the definition of a point guard? And I think the Clippers would benefit tremendously from having a player of John Wall's caliber at the 1.
So I'm a big fan of being a Thunder fan. I'm a big fan of Dennis Schroeder. And so I like how the Lakers look with Dennis Schroeder. But the Clippers pick up my boy Serge Ibaka. And if the Clippers go out and make a move for John Wall, and they have John Wall, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, I'm picking the Clippers over the Lakers all day. Last year I had the Lakers all over the Clippers, and I was right. Dang it. I hate that. It happens all the time. But
yeah, I don't know about all the time. But yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. We don't know how LeBron's going to play next season. Who knows? This next season might be his drop-off year. He might not play up to the level that he might not be playing at the MVP level he's been playing at for the past 20
years. He's getting old. You got to remember that. He's middle-aged almost.
I know he might be coming up to his peak. It's getting weird. But
don't say that. His peak's already done. He's
already passed. I was just feeding the fire, but I wouldn't say all day. I personally like the Lakers bench better than the Clippers. They have Kuz off the bench unless he signs somewhere else. They have KCP unless he signs somewhere. There's a lot of what ifs. And then they have JaVale McGee coming off the bench still. Or not still, I guess he started last season, but they have JaVale McGee coming off the bench. And then the Clippers don't really have anything off the bench besides Lou Williams.
Well,
and
yeah, especially losing Harrell to the Lakers.
Yeah, Harrell, exactly. Exactly.
The Lakers, the Lakers with Dennis Schroeder, I think they're clear favorites. Before that Dennis Schroeder trade, I actually thought that maybe Brooklyn was going to get the best of the Lakers. But now that they have Dennis Schroeder, now that they have a true star caliber point guard to go along with LeBron and Anthony Davis, Lakers, if the Clippers can't make another splash quick, Lakers are NBA champions again.
Yeah, they're back-to-backs, yes.
So
it's just
next up, let's go to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about there. To talk about.
Oh my goodness! I don't even know where to start. I just know I'm going to have a horrible time this NBA season. Going into last year, me being you know me, probably the biggest Thunder fan there is out there. I was, oh, look at us, we're starting our rebuild and we still make the playoffs. Look at how good we are. Well, it turns out
your rebuild's starting now.
Rebuild's starting now, and it's going to be tough to watch. But so let's start out with the Chris Paul trade. Chris Paul to the Phoenix Suns.
At first, I was happy with what you guys got back. And then you just traded away immediately. I think Kelly Oubre would have been a great fit for the whole rebuild because he is another young, talented player to go alongside Shea. But I guess they didn't.
Kelly Oubre wants the ball, and I think Oklahoma City. I think Sam Presti, after many years of Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, I think Sam Presti wants to start a selfless brand of basketball in Oklahoma City. That's not Kelly.
Wait, did I hear that right? Did you call Russell Westbrook selfish? Is that what I heard?
I didn't hear
that. Are you finally coming true to the nature? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know, everybody else, what do you think? Comment and see if that's what you heard. I didn't hear that.
I heard.
But either way, Chris Paul to the Suns, that's a playoff team. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, that's a playoff team. Their bench might struggle a lot.
Yeah, now especially now that they got rid of Ricky Rubio, they don't really have a good backup one.
No,
but another thing, just Ricky Rubio is one of them players that just got flip flopped immediately. Like the Thunder had him on the roster for like what, a day, 2 days.
You can't fault Oklahoma City though. I mean, Ricky Rubio is the exact opposite of rebuild. He's old as
the trees, bro.
He is not, and he's not even a Chris Paul kind of mentor guy. He's just one of those guys that gets under your skin on the defense, and that's just not really something you want for a rebuild. Next up, Danny Green trade to Philadelphia.
I don't understand. Like, I wouldn't have picked up Danny Green, to be honest, if I was Philly.
Nope.
If it was me with their starting lineup now, which is kind of nice because they have a really nice backup center in Dwight Howard now, but their starting lineup would have been nice if it was me, I would have made it Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Matisse Thybulle, and then I don't really know who they would have Tobias Harris, and then Embiid. That's a nice lineup in my opinion. Yeah. They got Matisse Thybulle being a really great defensive anchor on the 3 spot.
I really, I mean, shooting. I mean, is that what they're going for? I guess since Ben Simmons is
I guess.
absolutely abysmal.
Yeah,
I can't
he's
think of a much worse
probably the
shooter.
worst shooter.
But I mean,
Andre Robertson. Yes, I thought of one.
yeah, okay, you got me there. You got me there. But either way, I mean, Danny Green brings shooting, and
Oh yeah,
even that he was shaky at times last
he
season.
was he was he was pretty bad last season, especially with that
So
one shot in the playoffs. That was hideous.
that was sad, but hey, they pulled it out anyway. So
Oh yeah,
I don't know what Philly's doing, but I guess they know what they're doing.
I
Maybe
guess.
see.
I I
It
I do.
hasn't worked
I
up
have
to date,
Philly
so
making a pretty good push in the playoffs this season. As long as Ben Simmons stays healthy, I have Philly making a pretty decent push next season in the
I
playoffs.
mean, I've been saying that for the past 5 years, and they've let me
The
down every
only
time.
the only reason why they didn't make that good push in 2018-19 is because Kawhi hit that lucky shot that
Mm,
bounced 47,000 times on the rim. It was crazy.
yeah,
This is the
yeah.
only
Well, I still don't trust. I don't trust the process. I
I do. I do.
Ben Simmons
I
and
think
Joel
I think
Embiid. Mm, Ben Simmons
Ben
needs a
Simmons and
shot.
Joel Embiid are is if he gets a shot, that's a nice team. But I don't see that happening. I don't
That's
know.
the only way they win.
Maybe Danny Green can give some tips or something. I have no idea.
Hey,
Maybe that's what they picked up Danny Green
maybe
for, is
that's
to
what they
teach him
brought
to
him in
shoot.
for. Maybe I mean maybe they're
I
playing
think
long
that's
game.
why. I think that's why the Bucks signed Corver to teach Giannis how to shoot, and he didn't shoot horrible last season.
That
He's
was
definitely not as good as some. But
yeah, that was a failed experiment. Trying to teach Giannis how to shoot. That didn't work. Not yet anyway.
yeah,
All right, so
yeah.
the last Thunder trade, I won't bore you with a whole bunch of Thunder stuff. I could go on days and days and days about Thunder stuff, but the last one I want to talk about here today, Steven Adams to the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm gonna miss that
He
dude.
doesn't.
I've always thought Adams was overpaid and too lazy for getting paid $25 million a year, but he was a fun dude, a funny guy. I'm gonna miss his personality in the locker
He's
room,
this Aquaman.
and but Steven Adams in New Orleans, they're a playoff team now. I think so.
I, I, I for one, I've already talked about this, but I'm for one not a fan of the fit with Steven Adams and Zion. I think I think Zion really needs a stretch five. A great example, which I've said before, Miles Turner. Miles Turner is just he's a great fit for almost every team in the league. Every team in the league could use someone of his just skill set. Zion's a person who I know he had that game where he hit like six threes or something like that, but he's not a shooter.
He's
He's a paint
everything,
beast. That's for
Tyler.
sure. He's
He is
he's a paint
everything.
beast.
Zion
He's a paint
Williamson
beast, and
is a straight beast. No matter. I mean, he is the greatest basketball player of all time. He will be when his career's over anyway.
he's going to be top 50, I'd say. Yeah.
He's definitely going to
Uh,
surpass LeBron, Michael Jordan. I take my word for it now. I mean, I everybody quote me on this. Zion Williamson will be the best basketball player in NBA history when his career's over. Yes, I said it. No, I don't care if you disagree because I'm right. Um,
Uh,
but
yeah, just for y'all's information, this is also coming from the person who thinks Westbrook's better than Kevin Durant. So just throwing that out there. Uh, but yeah, no,
overall,
I'm not a fan of that.
overall,
I'm not
that's
a
not too crazy.
I'm not a fan of the Steven Adams pickup. I think they just need. I would flip him if I was. And then he also doesn't fit in with the timeline of New Orleans. He's not old, but he's not young. So I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean he's in his mid 20s, and I mean he did a good job catching lobs from Russell, catching lobs from Chris Paul. I mean he's a good pick and lob player. So I don't see him working bad with Lonzo Ball at all. Um, I
I
think
just see him working bad with Zion. That's the thing.
he's a big improvement in my opinion,
Over Derek Favors, yeah. But
and I
yeah,
think that's exactly who New Orleans needed to make the playoffs. Now, obviously, that doesn't make them a contender yet, but I mean, um, once
that's what
Zion
makes him
gets
a playoff.
healthy,
I'd say.
then they'll be contenders, obviously. But
Yeah, yeah,
all right,
yeah.
so
Um,
all right, so that's enough talk about Oklahoma City. Let's go on to Drew Holiday to the Bucks. Um,
I think great pickup. Great pickup.
uh, I
Just
I
all
really
around better Eric Bledsoe.
I'm really disappointed in how bad the Bucks turned out last year in the playoffs. I don't think Drew Holiday makes a difference. I don't.
I,
Um,
I don't think he's going to make him a contender at all. But I think there's still going to be a great performing team in the regular season,
they're
and
going to
then
be
whenever it comes to
fun.
playoffs, Giannis is just Giannis is. I don't know how to say this to make it make sense because Giannis is one of the best players in the league, but Giannis can't be the number one option in the playoffs.
He's a winner
But
that doesn't
I don't
win.
think, yeah,
He's a
I don't
winner
think he
that
should be
doesn't
the number
win.
two option either.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand that.
he wins games. He just cannot carry a team by himself. And Drew
No,
Holiday's
he
not going to do
definitely,
it. Drew Holiday's not going to get them past Boston. Drew Holiday's not going to get them past Miami.
especially
Drew
with
Holiday's
Jason
not going to
Tatum
get them
getting
past Brooklyn. Drew Holiday just can't do it.
I
Um,
completely agree.
so it's a fun pickup. They're gonna make some noise. They're gonna beat some good teams, but they're not gonna make a push for the championship next year just because of adding Drew Holiday. Um, so
100%.
so the Blazers getting Robert Covington in a trade with
Great pickup.
Houston. Tell me a little bit what you think's going to happen because of that.
I think they're. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna be a contender. Just because they don't have enough. But playoff team easily. You have Dame, probably the second best point guard in the league. CJ McCollum is makes him and Dame one of the best back or front courts in the league. Front courts, right? Yeah, I think it is. Or is it back court?
No, I think it's backcourt.
Yeah, I think it is back
I think
court.
it's
Yeah,
backcourt.
yeah. Anyways, makes him one of the best backcourts in the league. And then Robert Covington, probably the best 3-and-D player in history. And then you have I can't think of his name.
Larry Bird.
Another Collins, Zach,
Larry Bird.
huh? Zach Collins coming back from his injury, gonna be nice. And then you get Yusuf Nurkic playing the five. That's a nice team.
Yeah,
I'd say probably at least 8 or 7 seed,
you're right.
maybe
You're
6
right.
even.
You're right. With Whiteside and Nurkic coming back, you're right. Portland is gonna
And Melo's off the
win
bench.
some games. Portland's gonna win some games next year. They're gonna make the playoffs. So either the
And as
Suns
long as
group
Dame
or New Orleans is gonna have to fall out. So come closer to the season, Tyler and I will make our predictions for the
oh yeah,
playoffs, and I'll choose one of those two to squeeze out. But I definitely agree that the Blazers, this Robert Covington deal will put the Blazers into maybe even 6. I
that's
think
what
it's
I was saying. I think 7, maybe 6.
um,
Yeah,
next up. I know there were a lot more little trades, but this is a little trade that kind of caught my eye. The Nets getting Landry Shamet.
ooh, I didn't know about this one. I did
Yeah,
not.
it was
That's
part of a
that's actually a nice.
yeah.
It's he's not he's not very good on the defensive side. Neither is Kyrie, but
Oh,
they're both lights out shooters. One of them more than the other, but you know, I think he's a nice bench PG because who did they have before that? They didn't have really any bench point guard.
no.
So yeah, that's a good. That's a good pickup. I'm honestly wondering when and where. I can't think of his name, but the young guy that they have on their team, Karis LeVert, where are they going to trade him to? Because they need slash want to get
Hey,
another
Spencer Dinwiddie.
third star.
Spencer
Oh,
Dinwiddie's their
Spencer
backup
Dinwiddie,
guard.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, we can't forget about
Okay,
Spencer.
so yeah, so Landry Shamet's going to be playing 2. He might be starting at 2, or maybe they're going to move Dinwiddie to 2 and then have Shamet at the 1 bench. I don't know.
I think they'll go Shamit at 2. But
Well, if they
way,
don't trade Karis LeVert, Karis LeVert's coming at the 2. He's not going to be coming off the bench at all.
either way, that's good depth for Brooklyn, much needed.
Yes.
So finally, let's go with some free agency signings.
Yes.
Just to end the last 10 minutes or so. I know we talked about this a little bit already. Gordon Hayward to the Charlotte Hornets.
Great pickup. They were horrible. They were okay. So everyone thought Charlotte was going to be the worst team last season, and they actually surprised some people with PJ Washington and Devontae Graham and a couple other people stepping up from what everyone thought they were going to do. And then they just add Gordon Hayward, and as long as he can stay healthy and produce at least close to what he did in Utah or even Boston, he's a pretty nice pickup for that team, I'd say.
I've already talked about Charlotte a little bit with LaMelo Ball. I think LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward, but I mean, they're paying Gordon Hayward a lot of money. That
lot of
$30 million is a lot of money for a player. You don't even know if he's going to stay healthy or not. But
they're paying Terry Rozier a lot of money too. I would get rid of him. I guess it's just I'm not a fan of Terry Rozier already, and then he is already making a bag. So,
but
I don't know.
That's $30 million to get a playoff spot, in my opinion.
And it's like about 4 years, 3 years.
Yeah, something like that. It's not short term, but I think Charlotte with Gordon Hayward, LaMelo Ball, and if they can get one more really nice piece, maybe next off season, they might actually be heading in the right direction. And we already talked about Gallo to Atlanta.
Good pickup.
At this point, Atlanta cannot decline talent. So while Gallo might not have been the best fit for Atlanta, they cannot turn away talent that wants to sign with them. They have been too bad in the recent years to deny somebody like Gallinari a chance to play. So even though there's going to be some rotation problems, do what?
I think they're just trying to impress Trae Young to keep him there.
Why not?
I think they're like, yeah, oh yeah, exactly. The Trae Young is probably one of the most perennial talents. If like he's besides Luka, he's probably the best young. I guess Giannis too, and yeah, I guess he's one.
Yeah, Giannis isn't young. He's been in the league for a while.
Zion, Luka, Zion, and Trae Young are going to be the top 3 players coming up.
Not in that order, by the way.
It's debatable. I think it's going to be I think those are going to be the 3 MVP competitors upcoming soon.
All right.
I think Luka has MVP soon.
So next up, Serge Ibaka signing a 2-year deal with the LA Clippers. We already talked about that a little bit, but
after losing Montrezl Harrell, that's a big hit for them, and they needed.
I think that's an upgrade. Personally, I mean, I know I might sound a little biased by that, but I mean, Serge Ibaka is a much better offensive player than Montrezl Harrell, and just as good, if not better, on the defensive end as well. So while Serge Ibaka cannot play the 5 like Harrell could, Serge Ibaka is a improvement to Montrezl Harrell.
I wouldn't go that far. I'd say they're about even. I'd say I think Ibaka is a significantly better 3-point shooter,
Yep.
and but then like Montrezl Harrell in the paint is disgusting. He's so athletic, and the main reason why the Clippers really liked Harrell was because of his energy. He was a high energy player, and that just boosted everyone else up whenever he started. Whenever he really did anything, that was a highlight.
Yeah,
That just
he's the kind of guy that everybody hates except for the team that he's on. And just because he purposefully gets under people's skin like that. Him and Patrick Beverly did a good job. Did a really good job at that. I didn't like
I
either.
know I know one of them did a good job for you, so
Oh man. Yeah, I'm still not happy with Patrick Beverly with how he
yeah,
purposefully injured Russell Westbrook
yeah.
those
I know.
those many years ago. But all right, so that's everything I had on my list. Is there anything specific you wanted to talk about, Tyler?
I honestly can't. We really covered everything that I. There's a couple little pickups that I think, like the main little pickup that I think is as a good mention is Christian Wood to Houston.
Yep, yep,
I
yep.
think that's a good pickup. The Houston Rockets need to rebuild. It's falling. It is falling apart.
And for
James Harden wants
heaven's sake, get a big man. Good Lord. I
the small ball. You had Tyson Chandler. You didn't even use him.
do not
The
understand.
Westbrook and James Harden want out. And going young is best. And you pick up Christian Wood, one of the best young fours in the league.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. I did not expect him. Didn't even really know about him much until he started playing out of his mind in Detroit.
I can't believe I'm saying this, even though he is uh, top two in the league easily. But Russell Westbrook, I think the Rockets will do better without him or James Harden. The Rockets need to get rid of both of them in order to succeed, in my opinion. Um,
Uh, I agree with the Rockets. Just like I said, the Westbrook and Harden experiment didn't even work remotely close. Like it worked for like 4 days, and then it was started declining. Both of them need the ball in their hand, and neither one of them are very good off ball handlers.
not enough,
So
not enough ball. Um, all right, all right, y'all. That's um, we're getting close to the end of our time. I do want to ask Tyler and I. We are recapping this off season, but until games start in December, close to Christmas time, free agency and trades are going to start slowing down a little bit. So, any of you listeners out there, if you Tyler and I disagree on a lot of things. If you want to hear any debates, anything you want us to talk about on the show, please comment. Please, if you know us personally, message us, or just leave comments on the channel or on the podcast. Just let us know, and we will definitely the next show after you leave that comment. We'll talk about that if there's time. Um, but other than that, that's about all we have for this week. Next show will be Wednesday. Will be our football show with Sean and I, and then our next basketball show will be next Sunday. But until then, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, and once again, please comment if you have anything you want us to talk about on the show. Just please let us know. And until next time, have a good week.